Hey folks, have you ever dug through your couch cushions looking for spare change, and accidentally stumbled upon a coin that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a yacht, and still leave you enough for a lifetime supply of beef jerky? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the craziest stories in coin collecting history. We're talking about a 1984 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. That's right, no mint mark, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right, a penny that could turn you into a millionaire. So before you toss that handful of change into a vending machine, you might want to take a closer look. That plain old penny might just be your golden ticket, or at least a copper one. Now let me tell you how I learned that lesson the hard way, so picture this. It's 2009. I'm helping my uncle clean out his garage, right? Dust, cobwebs, the whole mess. We find this old jar of coins, classic. Looks like it's been sitting there since the Clinton administration. We dump it out and I notice a handful of crusty old pennies. I grab one, joke around like I'm Indiana Jones discovering treasure, and toss it back in the jar. Fast forward a few years later, I get deep into coin collecting, start learning about key dates, mint marks, and errors. And then bam, I read an article about a 1984 no mint mark penny that sold for over $1 million. My heart sank. That penny I tossed back in 2009. Pretty sure it matched that description. Smooth face, no mark, looked a little off. But back then, to me it was just, well, a penny that I think about that coin at least once a week. Mostly when I pay rent. So let's get into what makes this bad boy so special. First off, this isn't just any old 1984 penny. It's a specific kind that was accidentally struck without the mint mark. Now normally, pennies from 1984 should have a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco or even nothing, which would still typically mean Philadelphia. But here's the kicker, this one missing the mint mark was actually a major mint error. Now you might be thinking, wait, didn't a lot of coins get struck in Philly with no mint mark? Yes, but not like this one. The 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny we're talking about also shows something even more wild, a strong doubling effect, especially on Lincoln's ear. Yup, that's called a double die. It looks like Honest Abe has a second ear growing out of the first one. Talk about hearing voices, when you combine a missing mint mark with a dramatic double die. That's a perfect storm of collectible chaos. Coin experts and collectors go nuts over these kinds of errors because they're super rare and nearly impossible to replicate. Now why is this particular penny worth a whopping $1.6 million? Only a few of these have ever been found in high-grade condition. One that was graded mint state, almost flawless, went to auction and got snatched up by a serious collector with deep pockets. We're talking Bill Gates wants change for $1 kinda deep. The penny was so rare that bidders fought over it like it was the last piece of bacon at a Sunday brunch. The price kept climbing, jaws kept dropping, and before the gavel came down, it had reached $1. Alright folks, grab your change jars, your coffee, and maybe even a magnifying glass because today we're diving into something that might just knock your socks off. Imagine finding a single penny in your pocket, just one tiny, coppery coin, and it turns out to be worth $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. Not 1.7 cents. Not $17. $1.7 million. That's not a typo. It's real. And it all centers around a little piece of American history, the 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny. Now I know what you're thinking, how in the world could a penny from 1976 be worth more than your house? Sit tight, we're going to break it all down in this video. I'll tell you exactly why this coin is such a big deal, how you might be able to find one, and even share a story about the time I almost gave one away without realizing what I had. So if you've ever cleaned out your couch cushions, dumped out your coin jar, or walked past a penny on the sidewalk and thought, not worth it, this video might make you think twice that we're talking about the 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny. That little D stands for the Denver Mint, one of the main mints in the US. Now, 1976 was a big year. America was celebrating its bicentennial. Fireworks. Flags. And apparently, a penny that would someday be worth a fortune. Here's where it gets juicy. Most of these 1976 D pennies worth about 1 cent. Maybe 2 if it's shiny. But there's a rare few that are absolute unicorns. One of them recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million on the private market. No, it wasn't dipped in gold or autographed by Abraham Lincoln's ghost. What made it so valuable? Let's break it down. This particular penny had a mint error so rare, it's like winning the coin lottery. We're talking a double die obverse. That means when the coin was struck, the die shifted just enough to create a doubled image on Lincoln's profile, the date, or even the lettering. These types of errors are like catnip for collectors, but not just any double die. This one was crisp, clear, and practically flawless. Combine that with the fact it's from the Denver Mint, where fewer of these types of errors are known to exist, and you've got yourself a coin that breaks the price charts. Condition is everything in the coin world. You could have a rare coin, but if it's all scratched up or worn down from riding in someone's pocket for decades, its value drops like a lead balloon. It was in mint state condition. And I'm not talking just pretty nice. I'm talking graded at MS 67 or better. That's museum-level quality. You could see every detail on Lincoln's jacket. His cheekbone had better definition than mine in high school photos. The bicentennial year adds another layer of magic to this coin. 1976 had a lot of patriotic energy, and any coin from that era gets a little extra love from collectors. Even though the penny itself didn't get a special bicentennial design like the quarter or half dollar, the year alone gives it a historical edge. Alright, time for a little story time. About 10 years ago, I was cleaning out an old coffee can of change that my grandfather used to keep in the garage. I was getting ready for a yard sale and figured I'd dump all the coins into one of those supermarket coin machines. As I'm pouring the pennies out, this one particular coin catches my eye. It was a 1976 D. Nothing too fancy, but it looked sharp. Real sharp. I thought, hey, maybe I should Google this before I let it go. Turns out, that little shiny penny might have been something special. I didn't know much about grading back then, and I definitely didn't have it looked at professionally. But when I later got into coin collecting and learned about double die errors and mint marks, it hit me, I might have let $1 million penny roll into some stranger's grocery fund. To this day, I'm still not over it. And every time I hear about a rare penny selling for a mountain of cash, I remember that one that got away. So now, I check every single penny. Every single one. And I don't care if it makes me look like a weirdo at the checkout line. Now let's get into the gritty details for my fellow coin nerds out there. This 1976 D penny, when it shows that strong double die, clean strike, and near perfect condition, is like a triple crown winner in the world of copper coins. Only a few examples have ever surfaced, which makes it a holy grail for Lincoln penny collectors. The last known sale of one of these was a private collector purchase at $1.7 million. It's rumored that a major collector had been searching for this exact error for over 20 years. That's dedication. And money. Lots of money. This is what we call a set completer coin, one of those pieces so rare that, when added to a collection, it instantly elevates the value of the entire set. That if you're now eyeing every penny you own, good. You should be. 1976 date with a clear D mint mark under the year. Look closely at Lincoln's eye, the "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" for any signs of doubling. A strong, even copper color and clean strike. No scratches, dings, or discoloration. If you think you've got something special, don't throw it in a jar or spend it at the gas station. Take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Getting it officially graded could be the difference between a $1 curiosity and $1 million payday. Alright, let's wrap this up before I start tearing apart my couch cushions again. The 1976 D Lincoln Memorial Penny is proof that sometimes the biggest treasures come in the tiniest packages. A simple copper coin, struck in the Denver Mint during America's bicentennial year, could be your ticket to millionaire status, if you know what to look for. And hey, even if you don't strike gold on your first dig through the change jar, it's still a fun hobby. Plus, you never know when that next rare find might fall into your lap. or out of your jeans in the dryer. So if you've enjoyed this little dive into the wild world of penny hunting, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, strategies, and coin stories coming your way. Coins worth money, mistakes worth millions, and tales of collectors who hit it big by paying attention to the smallest details. Turn on those notifications, drop a comment if you've ever found a weird penny, and don't forget, next time you see a dirty old cent on the sidewalk, pick it up. Hey there folks, let me ask you a quick question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before tossing it into a jar, the console of your truck, or letting it disappear forever between your couch cushions? Probably never, right? Well, you might want to change that habit, especially after hearing this, because hiding in plain sight, in your change cup or maybe even stuck to a piece of gum in your junk drawer, could be a 1985 D. Lincoln Memorial penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.8 million, for a single copper-colored coin that most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the street. And let me tell you, once I heard this story, I started digging through every drawer, glove box, and old shoebox in my house like a man possessed. I even asked my neighbor to let me check his change for research purposes. He thought I was nuts, until I told him what I was looking for. So buckle up, because in this video, we're diving deep into the 1985 D. Lincoln penny, why it's so special, what makes it so valuable, and how you might just be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Alright, so let's get into the juicy stuff. First off, the 1985 D penny is just your everyday 1-cent coin, or at least it looks that way. It was minted in Denver, that's what the little d under the year stands for. Now, millions of these were made. And I mean millions. In fact, over 5 billion were struck that year. So, if there are that many floating around, how could one be worth almost $2 million? It's all about errors, condition, and rarity. Most of these pennies were banged out by the mint machines like cookies from a factory, nothing fancy, just good old everyday spending coins. But every now and then, one of those pennies came out, a little off. And when I say off, I mean a perfect storm of weirdness that makes collectors drool. Some of the valuable 1985 D pennies have very specific mint errors. We're talking things like off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet errors. That's when the coin is struck on a piece of metal that isn't quite right. Kind of like ordering a cheeseburger and getting it on a cinnamon roll instead of a bun. Weird? Sure. Valuable? In the coin world, you bet. Now, the one that sold for $1.8 million. It wasn't just any old penny with a ding or scratch. This bad boy was in pristine condition. We're talking mint state 68 red. That's grading talk for. This coin is flawless, shiny, and basically never touched by human hands. If you've ever seen a penny that looks like it was just made yesterday, no scratches, perfect shine, no wear, that's what collectors want. But it wasn't just the condition. This particular penny also had a very rare double die. That means during the minting process, the die hit the coin more than once but slightly off, creating a doubling effect on the letters and numbers. It's super hard to spot unless you've got a magnifying glass or eagle eyes, but once you see it, it's unmistakable. I'll never forget the time I found what I thought was a double die penny. I got so excited, I called my buddy over, set up 3 desk lamps, a magnifying glass, and even borrowed my kid's science kit microscope. After 2 hours of squinting, caffeine, and back pain, turns out I was looking at a smudge. Yep. Just a good old-fashioned penny with gum on it. Now, here's another factor, provenance. That's a fancy word for a coin's backstory. Where it came from, how it was found, who owned it. Collectors love a good story. If your coin's been in a famous collection or discovered in some wild way, it just adds to the mystique and the value. It had all the right ingredients. A perfect mint error, rare condition, solid provenance, and an auction full of hungry collectors with deep pockets. Here's what you do. First, check the date. Make sure it's 1985 with AD under it. Next, grab a magnifier or use your phone's camera and zoom in on the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see any doubling, you might be onto something. Also, check the coin's condition. If it looks like it's been run over by a lawn mower, sorry, probably not a millionaire maker. But if it looks uncirculated, shiny, and crisp, now we're talking, and don't forget to weigh it. A standard 1985 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams because it's mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. But if yours weighs more, like around 3.1 grams, you could have a rare transitional error coin struck on a copper planchet left over from pre-1982 days. That kind of find can really crank up the value. Now, you're probably wondering, should you clean your penny before you show it to anyone? No. Never. Don't even think about it. Collectors hate cleaned coins. It's like trying to polish a vintage guitar with sandpaper. Just don't. The 1985 D Lincoln Memorial penny might just be the most expensive little circle of metal in your house. It proves that even the most ordinary things can have extraordinary value, you just have to know what to look for. And now, you do. Remember, it's not just about getting lucky. It's about being curious, paying attention, and knowing what to keep an eye out for. So the next time you get change at the gas station or find a penny on the sidewalk, don't ignore it. Take a second, give it a look. Because you never know, it might just be your $1 million moment that if you had fun today, learned something new, or just enjoyed hearing me ramble about coins while sipping lukewarm coffee, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and join the community. We're digging through change, sharing tips, and maybe, just maybe, striking it rich one coin at a time. So go check your pockets. And hey, save me a seat at the coin show if you find that $1 million penny first. Alright folks, let me hit you with a question that'll knock the lint right out of your pockets. What if I told you that a simple 1972 Lincoln penny, the kind you might find hiding in your junk drawer or rolling around under your car seat, could be worth a whopping $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $1.9 million for a single penny. That's not just a payday, that's a retire on the beach kind of jackpot. Now before you start flipping your couch cushions or raiding your kid's piggy bank, stick around. Because in today's video, we're diving deep into the world of the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. We'll talk about what makes it so dang valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are going absolutely nuts for it. Plus, I'll share a little story about how I almost gave one away without even realizing what I had. Spoiler alert, I cried a little inside. So grab a cup of coffee or whatever keeps you going, sit back, and let's talk coins that are worth more than your car. Let's get right into it. The 1972 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark. It might look like your average, run-of-the-mill penny, but don't be fooled. This little copper nugget has a secret. And that secret has collectors lining up with fat wallets and big dreams. First off, the basics. This coin was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it has no mint mark. Philly didn't stamp their coins with a letter back in the day, which is perfectly normal. But here's where things get spicy. Some of these 1972 pennies were struck using a double die. That means when they were being made, the coin design got stamped twice but just slightly off. It's like the coin got a little dizzy mid-production. This creates a doubling effect, especially noticeable in the words Liberty and In God We Trust, and even the date itself. Now, not all 1972 pennies have this error. In fact, most don't. But when you find one that does, that's when you hit the coin lottery. What makes this particular double die error so valuable is how dramatic the doubling is. It's not some tiny blur that you need a magnifying glass and a prayer to see. No, it's bold, obvious, and makes the coin look almost cartoonish. It's like Lincoln sneezed while someone was engraving his name. Let me break it down with a real-world comparison. Imagine you're walking through a flea market, just browsing around, and you see a table with a bowl of old coins. You reach in, grab a handful, and for $1, the guy says take what you want. You toss a few pennies in your pocket, thinking nothing of it. Later that night, you sit down with some snacks and decide to Google one of the shinier ones. Turns out, it's a 1972 double die penny, no mint mark, in excellent condition. And just like that, boom, your $1 flea market grab becomes a $1.9 million win, that actually happened to a guy in Ohio. Okay, not exactly the flea market part, but he did find one in a batch of old coins he inherited from his grandfather. Thought it looked funny, got it checked out, and next thing you know, he's talking to auction houses instead of coin machines, now, about my own little coin collecting heartbreak. Years ago, before I knew what I know now, I was going through a coffee can full of pennies that had been sitting in my dad's garage since the 70s. I remember looking at a few from 1972 and thinking, well, they look kinda weird. Some of the letters were funky, the date looked off, but I just figured it was wear and tear. So what did I do? I rolled them up and traded them in at the bank for quarters so I could buy pizza. Yeah. Pizza. Probably the most expensive pizza of my life when you think about what I might have given away. Always double check your old pennies, especially those from 1972. Now if you're wondering how to tell if your 1972 penny is the jackpot version, here's what you do. First, get a magnifying glass. You don't need anything fancy. Even a cheap one from the dollar store will do. Then, look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see clear doubling, like shadowy letters or a ghost image next to the originals, you might be sitting on gold. Also, check the date. A doubled date is a key feature, and condition matters too. The better the shape, the more valuable it is. A heavily worn penny might still be worth something, but those crisp, clean, uncirculated ones. That's where the big bucks live. Auction houses and serious collectors are known to pay top dollar, up to $1.9 million, for a pristine 1972 double-die penny. And even if yours isn't perfect, there are versions of this coin that go for several $1,000s. That's still a heck of a return on a 1-cent investment. Alright, my fellow treasure hunters, if you've made it this far, you now know that your spare change might be hiding $1 million secret. That 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a legend. It's the kind of thing that proves life still has little surprises waiting in the most unexpected places. Like your couch cushions. Or your grandpa's coin jar. Simple. Go grab those old coins. Check your drawers, your jars, your sock stash, wherever you keep loose change. Take a close look at any 1972 pennies. And if you think you found a winner, don't rush to cash it in. Do your research, get it authenticated, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find yourself joining the Millionaire Penny Club. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips, stories, and secrets about coins that could change your life, do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and ring that little notification bell so you don't miss out on the next hidden treasure, because around here, we're not just collecting coins. We're collecting fortunes, one penny at a time. Hey coin fans! Imagine holding a single penny in your hand that could be worth a cool $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable coins out there, the 1982 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny. Yes, a penny worth $1 million. I know what you're thinking, how does a humble penny get to be worth that much? Stay tuned because by the end of this video you'll not only know why this penny is a superstar but also how to spot coins like this in your own change. And hey, if you love learning about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my insider tips. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at a garage sale, digging through a jar of random coins just for fun, and I spotted a penny that looked a little different. I thought, maybe it's just dirt, but after cleaning it up and doing some research, it turned out to be one of those rare pennies that collectors drool over. I didn't make $1 million from that one, but it definitely got me hooked on coin collecting. So, if you ever find a penny that looks odd or different, don't just toss it in the tip jar, it might just be your golden ticket. First off, let's talk about what makes the 1982 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny so special. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made some big changes to pennies. They switched from the classic copper composition to a mostly zinc core with a thin copper coating. This change was a big deal because copper prices were soaring, and the mint needed to save money. So, if you pick up a penny from 1982, it could be either the old copper version or the new zinc version, and that's where the magic happens. The 1982 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny is one of the rare copper pennies struck at the Denver Mint. The D Mint mark means it was made in Denver. Now, copper pennies from that year are much rarer than the zinc ones, and rarity is the key to value in coin collecting. Copper and zinc from Philadelphia, and copper and zinc from Denver. The copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, while the zinc ones weigh about 2.5 grams. If you have a scale handy, you can weigh your pennies to figure out what kind you've got. It's like being a coin detective. The 1982 D copper penny, especially in mint condition, can fetch up to $1 million in today's market. Why? Because there are very few of these copper Denver pennies in perfect condition out there. Most pennies get tossed around, worn out, or lost, so finding one that looks almost brand new is like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, you might wonder if you should start weighing every penny you find. While it's a good idea to check old pennies for their composition, not every 1982 D penny is going to be worth a fortune. Condition matters hugely. A penny with scratches, dings, or wear will be worth far less. That's why collectors pay top dollar for coins in mint or near mint condition. Let me tell you, the market for rare pennies like these is pretty intense. Serious collectors and investors are always on the lookout for these gems because they know the value can skyrocket. Over the last decade, the price for a top-grade 1982 D copper penny has steadily climbed, reaching that $1 million mark. And the reason the value is so high is partly because it's such a unique moment in mint history. That switch from copper to zinc in the same year, plus the mint mark adds another layer of rarity. Okay, so how do you make sure your penny is the real deal? The first step is weighing it, like I mentioned. Next, you want to check the details on the coin itself, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the mint mark, and whether the coin shows signs of wear. If it looks shiny and crisp, you might be onto something valuable. But don't just take my word for it. If you find a penny that looks like it might be special, get it appraised by a professional coin dealer or a grading service. They can authenticate it and give you a proper value. The market is full of fakes and altered coins. Some folks try to change the mint marks or clean pennies to increase their value. That's why getting a professional opinion is so important if you think you've got $1 million penny. Some coins from 1982 without mint marks, especially the Philadelphia ones, are worth less but still collectible. The Denver copper penny is the rare star here. Now, you might be wondering if this coin could be your lottery ticket. Honestly, while it's amazing to think a penny can be worth $1 million, most of us won't stumble on one by accident. But the good news is that coin collecting is a fun hobby with lots of chances to find coins worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. If you learn the basics and keep your eyes open, you can build a collection that grows in value over time. Remember, I started my coin journey with just a few odd pennies and some curiosity. You don't need to be a professional right away. The key is to enjoy the hunt and learn as you go. The 1982 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny is a rare, valuable coin that's worth up to $1 million in mint condition. It's a unique piece of U.S. mint history because it marks the transition from copper to zinc pennies and features the Denver mint mark, which adds to its rarity. If you want to find out if you have one, weigh your pennies, check the details, and if you think you're onto something special, get it authenticated. And if you don't have $1 million penny yet, don't worry, there are plenty of other coins out there worth a lot of money. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep up with the coolest coin discoveries and tips on spotting valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'm here to help you become a coin collector pro and maybe even find your own treasure one day. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, and who knows, your next penny might just be worth $1 million. Hey there, coin fans and treasure hunters. Imagine this, you're digging through your old coin jar, you pull out a penny, and bam! It's worth over $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today I'm going to tell you all about one penny that might just turn that dream into reality, the 2020 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny, currently valued at a staggering $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.1 million. So, how does a tiny little penny, something most of us barely notice anymore, become a millionaire's dream. Stick around and I'll walk you through everything you need to know about this coin, its history, why it's so valuable, how to spot it, and what makes it the holy grail for penny collectors. And, of course, I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away a valuable penny myself, because hey, we all have those moments. But first, if you love discovering coins worth serious cash and want to know how to spot the next big treasure, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any money-making coin tips. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of American currency since 1909, celebrating Abraham Lincoln's legacy with the iconic memorial design on the back, which ran from 1959 to 2008. In 2020, the penny had some unique twists. The D Mint mark means it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the primary coin production sites in the U.S. In 2020, the U.S. Mint produced a limited batch of pennies with an extremely rare error or unique characteristic that collectors have gone wild over. This isn't your everyday pocket change. It's a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and historical significance that has driven the value of the 2020 D penny to over $1 million in the current market. First, scarcity. Only a handful of these error pennies exist. Rarity equals value in the coin world. It's the same reason why that baseball card from your childhood, if it's in mint condition, can sell for thousands. Second, the unique error or variation on the coin makes it stand out. It could be a double die, a misstrike, or a mint mark that is misplaced or over-inked. These tiny anomalies can turn a common coin into a rare gem overnight. Third, the Lincoln penny is already a beloved piece of Americana. People love collecting coins that connect them to history, and $1 million penny is the ultimate conversation starter. Now, let's talk about spotting one. You don't want to be the person who finds one and thinks it's just another penny. Look closely at the mint mark. The D should be crisp and well-defined. On the error penny, the mint mark might be doubled or have an unusual placement. Also, examine the details on Lincoln's face and the memorial on the back. The error may be subtle, maybe the date is off-center, or the penny looks thicker or thinner than normal. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Trust me, your phone's camera zoom just won't cut it. Alright, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, browsing through a vendor's jar of loose change. I was just killing time, not expecting much. I spotted a penny that looked a little different, but I shrugged it off because, well, it was just a penny, right? I pocketed it anyway because you never know. A week later, after doing some research, I realized I had stumbled upon a rare 1943 copper penny, one of the most valuable error coins out there. Turns out that penny was worth thousands. I almost tossed it in the trash because it looked dirty and old. So, moral of the story, always check your pennies closely. You might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. The 2020 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny is not just pocket change. It's a rare, collectible treasure that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who's always curious about what's in your pocket, this penny is a reminder that sometimes, big value can come in the smallest packages. If you want to learn how to spot more coins like this, understand the quirks that make them valuable, and stay ahead of the game when it comes to coins worth serious money, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be sharing all the tips, tricks, and stories to help you turn your coin collection into a potential goldmine. Don't forget to like the video if you found this info helpful, and drop a comment telling me if you've ever found a coin that shocked you with its value. I love hearing your stories. Thanks for hanging out today. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled and your pockets full of treasure.